Hello, this is Alan from Launch Tabletop, and this is a video made for the Intrepid Homemade TCG Community that I'm a part of. So, first of all, this video is me going through just setting up all the cards for the sample foil sheets that the community members have provided. And I guess quick apology for taking this long to actually get your foils, the test foil samples, actually processed. The TCG Smith program has gone through a lot of iterations and improvements. For those who have accessed the most recent public beta version, have been using it, knows sort of the amount of work that we've been putting through in the background, not just on the app side, but also on improving the production process on the factory side as well. And because of that moving target, it's always difficult for us to, for at least for me, to put time into doing the foil samples, as there's always another reason why we should wait until our process is sort of improved a bit, or there's always something that we're going, oh, we should wait until this thing is released and then we can then test that out using the foil sheets, which is not really a really good excuse, because it's always an evolving moving target, but that's kind of the reason why it kept getting delayed. So without kind of putting it off any longer, this is me trying to go through all the files. So what's the reason for this video? The main reason is that as I was looking through the files, I noticed that there are a number of issues that I need to address for to get it to a point where it's actually print capable. And this is a good kind of opportunity for me to highlight the kind of work that goes into having to sift through the files, highlight some of the issues that could actually be addressed before it actually gets to me. Obviously, when it comes to using TCG Smith, a lot of this issue has to be resolved on the creator side and on my side, but given that I'm helping the community put together the sheet, I'm happy to sort of do it. So this is kind of like that, showcasing it visually and highlighting. Essentially, we've got 50 artwork worth of examples that I can kind of highlight and note anything that I see that might be problems. So it's not in any particular order. I'm using InDesign, but that doesn't really matter. I'm using it mostly to compile and layer over the template lines, but also to kind of see where issues are. And as a good example here is that the green dotted line is the margin, safety margin for important things like icons, text, anything that you want should be within this margin line. And obviously the text and stuff is all outside of that. Not only that, but the red line that you see here is actually the cut line, meaning that the card is going to be cut in this within this space. Anything outside is bleed. So this image is lacking bleed. So that's something that I'll need to address on the artwork itself. Moving on to the next one. So we have this one. Now we can see that everything sits inside correctly, so that's good. Anything that is not particularly essential will be cut off. Now, generally speaking, just so that everybody has this kind of shortcut in mind, is when you're working with a card art, always think in 3 millimeters. So what's 3 millimeters? 2 inches. So 0.12 inch, or is that 1/5? No, 1/10, I guess. A tenth of an inch. I'm not a US person, so I'm not really sure. I just work in millimeters. But anyway, 3 millimeters, you always think 3 millimeters out is bleed, 3 millimeters in is margin. And if you kind of just think 3 mils, basically, for out and in, then you'll be fine. So, nothing of particular note. I think this one will print just fine. I am noting that this is a PNG file, which is fine, although the dimensions is a little bit off. It's not a problem. We can do those kind of minor resizes. The most important part is the effective PPI once it's printed is 300. So that's the important part. A quick note on what actual PPI versus effective PPI means. So PPI and DPI is two different terms, but are equivalent in units, if that makes sense. PPI stands for pixels per inch, and this is talking about lineal inch, meaning that it's across and not area, basically, or across and down. It's just lineal, as in like from here to here. So actual PPI, pixel per inch, and some people go, well, what does DPI stand for then? Well, that's dots per inch. Now you can use PPI or DPI as equivalent, meaning that PPI and DPI are the same. 72 DPI equals 72 PPI. What's the reason for the different naming? PPI stands for pixels, and pixels is term for display, and dots is what, if you could think about ink and how ink is applied onto a page, they're essentially these micro, what do you call them, like atomicized ink splot, micro dots essentially being applied onto an area. So that's a dot. So number of dots in a lineal inch essentially. So obviously this is saying that the actual PPI or pixels that are embedded in a PNG file is 72. Now this is hard-coded, meaning that because PNG is a display file format, it is basically any PNG can only encode as a 72 DPI file size, essentially. So that's where the dimension comes in, because the dimension of 820 by 1120, it's a little bit off by a couple of pixels, but this number of pixels, if you then divide that by 72 and times that by 300, just basically just changing the default 72 to a 300, then that in real world equals 6 point whatever the 2.5 inch by 3.5 inch poker standard size essentially is equivalent to. So anyway, that's a very long-winded way of saying, pay attention to the effective PPI output, not the actual PPI. For actual PPI for PNGs and JPEGs, we'll likely just say 72. Effective would be take that pixel dimension into account, and what would that equivalent physical size, because I have defined the document as 69 by 54.9. This includes bleed. Anyway, I won't go into numbers. It gets a little boring. So let's move on to the next item. Okay, so I cannot tell whether or not this is meant to be. I'm guessing that this has included bleed, but not included bleed, but the file itself, I can see has got the gray border color. I should just turn that on and off to see. So that's essentially what the creator has wants is when it gets cut, though, anything that has any gray, if it sort of shifts by a little bit, then this gray sliver is going to show. I can't do too much about that on my side because that requires re-engineering or applying the artwork and to be a full bleed. So I'm guessing the creators noticed that as an issue, but that's something that'll just be a Yeah, something worth noting. This one is missing bleed. I'm guessing. Well, there is a border, but the icons are well outside of the margin area. And if this is cut, then most of this top border is going to go away and the side is going to go away. So this looks like something that's worth, again, addressing. Okay, moving down to the next one. This one looks fine to me. Yeah. So no notes. This one is, again, has that same issue of the borders. This one has the art fully encompassed, which is good. Obviously, anything outside of that is cut off, but looking at it, nothing essential is being cut off. And all of the key elements are sitting within the margin area. This one, though, looks like it's lacking any sort of bleed. So this one, again, will require some readjustments. Same with this one. Same with this one. I can see, obviously, there's some issues there. I'm also noting that this is a PDF, which means that, let's see. Okay, this is where I'll have to jump into Adobe Acrobat. I've already got this one. I was actually doing some pre-flat checking, and this one happened to show up. So if I click on the output preview, I can see that there is a spot UV layer that's been applied. And the spot UV layer has applied on these numbers, these flourishes, these particle effects or wind effects, as well as this number there. Let's have a look. Just turn that off, on and off. Yeah, so onto these. One thing of note, though, is the reality of a spot UV is actually a white underprint. So how would I explain what a white underprint is to people? Let's see. I usually use, sorry, just give me 1 second while I pull up my handy, cool, just give me 1 moment. Okay, so, let's go to $46.80.80. Okay. Okay. I just have this little neat e-ink display app that device that I use a lot. So I'm just going to quickly kind of illustrate how white underprint works. So normally when you have a card, it actually comes in a large sheet that can essentially print out lots and lots of cards. And then it gets cut out. Now, this layer, this card sheet, is the foil cardstock. So when you apply printing over this, the whole thing essentially is shiny. And so what you do is, instead of just doing a print, what you do if you want spot printing is you first print a white layer. If you've done any kind of spray painting or painting before, you'll know that sometimes you have to kind of first do like a priming layer, and then once you've primed the surface, then you can do your normal print on it, and the primer usually is white. So it's kind of like that. The white layer is the primer. So when you apply the white layer on top of the foil stock, any part that is white essentially becomes non-reflective, right? So let's just say that let's get rid of that, and let's just have a look at a card, right? That's a very square card, but it doesn't matter. And then we have essentially some graphic elements with, say, a person in here. And if you apply the white layer onto the person will be white, but then everything else except for the person is now shiny. So then step 2, so this is step 1. Step 2, you then apply your normal artwork over the top of this. And so anything that is white that has the artwork will be non-shiny, and anything outside of that will be shiny. So that's sort of the process of doing spot foiling. So if we go back to this example, I'll just go back to this one, and we'll have a look at the spot UV. If we apply white ink on this number and this icon, then this whole thing is going to be not shiny because white priming, a white layer has been painted over this. So that means that the aura goddess of the wind is going to be shiny, and the wind element is not shiny because white paint has been applied. So that's usually the white underlayer UV layer, or the spot color is representing. At least in production it is. I'm guessing, looking at this, what they want would be majority of the artwork, because I'm guessing that this piece of text here, the creator doesn't want shiny, and instead they want these kind of icons as well as the wind elements to be shiny. So this means that the spot UV is needs to be inversed, basically. That's my guess. I don't know for sure. So that's something that I'll have to address. That is a big assumption on my part, though, but I don't know if that's a safe assumption or not, but I'm going to go ahead with that. So that's something worth mentioning. Now, that said, this is one of the most common issues we encounter when we're printing spot UV. People essentially think in the opposite, and they're basically saying, I want to paint in the places where I want shiny, and any places that is not shiny, I leave out. So that's sort of their thinking. So sort of their assumptions or thinking is the reverse of how production actually works. So we are considering whether or not in our application we allow customers to do it this particular way, meaning painting in the shiny parts, and we then do a inverse mask over, processing later. So then we assume the creators want this method and then not the opposite. Obviously, if we do that, then some of the, quote unquote, professional graphic designers is going to get caught out by that because they're used to, aligning with industry expectations or industry practices, and then they would be confused by this sort of weird inverse logic because they're used to this other way. So we're not really sure how to approach that just yet. Perhaps we offer a way to have a checkbox so that you can say, toggle on paint in foil or, paint out foil logic. Either way, it's kind of like, well, if you have that checkbox, then you might confuse other creators who's completely lost as to what the checkbox actually means. So anyway, we don't know what the right answer there is for now, but we'll process this, assuming essentially that they want the icons shiny. Okay, moving on. This one, there are 2 images. Yeah, 10 and 11 are the same. I'm not sure what that means. Let's have a look at what the... okay, I'm not exactly sure if that's my mistake or there literally is meant to be 2. Okay, this one looks fine, and this one is a PDF, so I'm gonna have to quickly jump in to I don't know why I do it that way. I should just select that and go edit original. Oh, that's why I haven't set up the defaults for editing. Let me go to edit Photoshop. Okay, let's have a look at the channels here. Okay, it doesn't seem to have any channel values. So this is just a standard. Oh, this is the PNG. Am I looking in the right file? I thought this was PDF. Or maybe it's the next one. Okay, no, my mistake. I was looking at something else. So yeah, this one looks fine too. Oh, I see. It doesn't automatically choose the next one as I'm looking at it. Okay, this one's fine. This one is fine too. This one looks fine. It's PNG. This one looks somewhat washed out, but I'm not sure whether or not that's intentional. I guess it is, yes. I would say that this one probably is too safe when it comes to the card, and I'm not sure whether or not that's intentional or not, because this is well within, like, this is one thick border essentially, if you think about where the cut line is. Perhaps this is meant to go into the safe area, so it should be expanded more. I'm not sure. It's yeah, question mark. Moving on. This one is a PDF, so I should have a look at this this file. Okay, so there are 2 layers. Interesting how it's layered that way. Okay. Right, okay. So this is fine. This is something that I can work with. Although, again, this is one of those situations where would be the shiny part, the thing that's been shining through. Let's have a look at if that is indeed the case here. So if we have the text in this spot, the text is covered, meaning that the white, it's going to be non-shiny. I think this is correctly oriented, ostensibly. But instead of using a spot channel color, it's using just a single mask, which will be fine. We are planning on allowing sort of masked-based solutions rather than spot color processes. So this one looks fine. Okay, moving on. Again, from the same creator, I'm guessing there is an issue with regards to, again, I don't really know if they intended it to be this small. This one is lacking bleed, and the image is very blurry. It looks as if it's been blown up, essentially, to this size. There's not much I can do about that, so I may just reduce the bleed. I mean the size down, and then add bleed to compensate. And this one I'm guessing would be a PNG. Yep. Okay, moving on. Same with this one. This one's good. This one's fine. No issues. There's a PNG, so no spot foiling there. This one is a PNG as well, and it's lacking necessary bleed because the whole thing, well, again, I don't know, maybe they do intend this to be cut out this way. Essential elements are kind of, what would I put that, precariously placed. This is something that the production team will probably, the pre-press team, I mean, will probably flag as a potential issue. Again, I don't know if that is indeed the case, or they just want to live life on the edge and just have everything, precisely in the zone. This one is fine because everything sits inside of the area, and I'm guessing basically that there is going to be a white border. Normally in this instance, I would suggest for creators to create a rounded cornering, just so that aesthetically it lines up with the cut. Otherwise, it's going to look like it's the border is not, like, for example, if you do cut this out, you'll notice that this will have like a sliver of a white border here, and then a thick border on this side, and then has sharp edges, whereas the cut of the physical has rounded borders. So reducing the height of this and also rounding off this will make it aesthetically more pleasing. This one is fine. I don't see any issues with this, and it is a Photoshop file. So let's have a look at what it looks like in Photoshop. So in Photoshop, we have this spot foil there. So let's just tone down the opacity and just see what's being applied. Okay, so basically the wings are going to be the wings and the trident and the number 3, with a little bit of the splash, I guess, coming through as shiny. Yep, if that's what they intended, then that's correct. Not a problem there. Moving on. So we have, I'm not too worried about this one because we work with the creator a lot, so I'm not too worried. Let's have a look at the, and so yeah, UC has done it the way that is not a problem. Although technically we do, like the pre-press team does actually turn this into a spot color value just to stay consistent. In the future, in our app, we might actually make it so that it's 2 files. One file would be the artwork, and then the other file will be the spot layer, essentially. So 2 separate files. So the way that UC has done it is kind of future-proofing it. We probably won't use the spot color methodology just because spot color is not really a widely available, it's like a print production special kind of functionality that not all graphic software support. And so it kind of limits the creators what they can do to create their spot foil artwork. Now, if we do it as two separate files, then they can have it so that the artwork will be in whatever artwork format, JPEG, PNG, TIFF, PDF, whatever they want. And then a file, as long as it supports alpha transparency, which will be PNG, most likely, then it would work. And then they can just upload those two, possibly. So that's fine. No problems with UC's artwork. Moving on. So this will be UC's. This one, living life on the edge with the text sitting outside of the margin safe area. Again, not sure if this is intentional. They don't mind if, like in reality, where does the text actually get cut? If what is this? Why is there a safety margin of 3 millimeters? Because in reality, the cut drift is never going to be 3 millimeters worth, right? So it's there's really no danger of the text actually being cut. Although this is quite close to the edge, though. The reason for this 3 mil margin is many. There are many reasons, but two main ones is first is it's like industry standard. So that's something that sort of just you can argue whether or not tradition is worth anything. But the second, more practical reason is that if you have a 3 mil margin, then any drift is going to be less noticeable. So this is more of a design good practice. If you have 3 mil margin inset, then if it's say 1 mil off, then you're not going to notice it. But you notice that if there is a drift in the Y coordinate, if it goes cut sort of closer to this, then it's going to be very noticeable that the cut is too uncomfortably close to the text in the top part here. So then when you're looking at from one card design to the next card, there's always going to be a slight precision difference between, if you look at two exact cards. So if if you fan out, say, 10 cards in your hand and you've got these tiny drifts, it's going to be much more noticeable if you're so uncomfortably close to the edge. That's why a 3 mil margin line helps kind of contain your design in a more there's more room for the design to breathe, and then it's less the error doesn't become too pronounced. Okay, moving on. This one is I'm not sure. I'm guessing this is intentional because everything still sits inside. And this one's a PNG, so it's good. Again, not sure about this one. This one's PNG, so I'm going to assume good. This is potentially a missed opportunity for foil effect on, say, the dress area and the skirt, and keeping that part shiny and the background shiny. There could be something there. Okay, moving on. This one is unsure. I don't know really what the plan is with the characters. A lot of the face here will be cut off, but because this is kind of test piece, I'm guessing this is what the curator intended. Moving on. This one is a Photoshop file. In terms of the layout, nothing is of no notes there layout wise. Looks fine. Let's click into the Photoshop file and see what it looks like. Oh, okay, so it's using an older version. I'm just getting, oh, there is a spot UV. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so what is this? Okay, not sure. Spot UV. So this part and this part are going to be not shiny, whereas everything else is going to be shiny, which I believe this would be a inverse situation. So I'm just going to quickly do that here. Again, I'm kind of just assuming that is the case, but I don't know. I'm hoping that is what the creator wants. So in terms of like what color to use, it doesn't really matter too much. Oh, I needed to do it the other way, so cancel. New spot color. There we go. White underprint color there. Let's cut this one out. Yes, this one gone too. So I have to toy around and see. I think that there was some alpha in the original as well. So I can't just do a full inverse cut, because the original I think is only partially white. Yeah. All right, I may have to do like a manual. Oh, what did I do? All right, let's stop playing around with that, move on. But yeah, that's something that I'll have to address. Okay. This one, PNG, looks fine. Bleed, this black border should technically go all the way out, but it's not. I'm guessing that they actually want the image here to be more like this-ish, essentially keeping this within the safe area, although the aspect ratio is a little off because it's wider than it is tall. So yeah, not exactly what the plan there is, but I'll just have to make an assumption and go with it. I don't know what I'm looking at. This looks wrong because of the text is all messed up. Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. The creator knows what they're doing. It's just that the white mask is obviously placed over the top, which gets automatically included in InDesign, which will go away once I process this properly. So white mask, no holo here, please, meaning that this is going to be not foil. And instead, everything else, the eyes, the background is going to be foiled, and the text is going to be non-foiled. So yes, the creator knows what they're doing. No problems here. I'm guessing this will be from the same creator, and there's no problems there. This one is actually fine-ish, as long as this cost thing is not super important. It looks intentional, so I'm going to go with yep, no problems. No problems here. Checking if this is it's a Photoshop file. So let's jump in and have a look at if there are any issues with the layering. So there is a foil mask, and the mask is applying onto the text area, meaning everything else is foiled. This is not. I would say this is intentional. Usually you don't want the text portion to be foiled, just for legibility reasons. So I'm guessing, yes, I think this is fine. Moving on. Yep, everything looks fine in this one. So Nathaniel's game, he's already done a bunch of games with us. So I feel safe that he knows what he's doing. Okay, this one, let's have a look. Looks like there's a foil effect. Let's see, spot UV. Yeah, the foiling effect is applied onto the text, although only on the top and not the bottom one. I'm not exactly sure what that. Let's have a look. So this is just going to be non-foil, and the flame is not foil, and the character is not foil, and everything else is foil. I just can't tell whether or not this is intentional or not. Okay, I have to make a decision one way or another, I guess. I'm guessing this is from the same creator. And yeah, it looks like it. So again, this will be all these parts are not foiled, and then the star here will be foiled, and the bottom here will be foiled. I can't make a I guess a educated assumption in this instance, because I can see arguments for both cases. Okay, moving on. This one looks fine. This is a PSD file. And there is spot color, and the spot color is applied onto. Okay, so I believe this is the. Again, I can't tell. Reason being, this is going to be foiled, and this is going to be foiled, and this guy is going to be foiled, but not the rest. So I could be intentional. The icon will be shiny, the text will be shiny. I'm going to go with maybe this is intentional, not inversed. This one is a PNG, so that's not a problem. Everything looks fine. Again, living life on the edge. The edge of the frame sits on the edge of the cut, meaning that if slight changes, you're going to see a sliver of this show up when it's misaligned, if it is misaligned. Okay. This one looks good. PNG, not too problematic. This is more of a argument, which way you want to go kind of thing. This is sitting outside of the critical margin area. As a designer, you could argue that what do they say about professionals? Professionals use guidelines as a tool, and if you're a professional, then you know where you can break the rules and elevate your design. Whereas novices, they don't know the rules, so they break the rules all the time, which kind of they don't know if they're elevating their designs or not. In this case, I can argue that having this outside of the margin line is actually okay. This one definitely not. This will be cut. And this one's JPEG, so no problem, so it's a resize. This one's fine. PNG, I'm guessing the same. This one reads a resize. This one is fine. And this is a Photoshop file. Oh. There is a spot UV, and the spot UV is applied to the background. So I don't know if they want the main character to be shiny. That could be the case. I don't know. I'm just going to go with what is provided. This one is her spot, and that is applied to the border, the items, but the text and everything else is shiny. Again, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's what they want. Or is it that they want the border shiny and the text to be free of, they want it to be solid. I don't know. Okay. Page down. I'm guessing this will be in the same situation, and that's the last of the cards. Okay, so there are a number of files that I need to go through and make a decision on and get that sorted, but hopefully this video is informative some way or another. And yeah, thanks.